Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled No, I Am Not Staff and No, You Can't Crash My Dad's Wedding. About a year ago my dad was getting married. As it was his second wedding, he did not want it to be a huge event and neither did his fiancée. Thus, they decided to have their wedding with just 17 guests at the bookstore where they met. It was so cute I wanted to throw up. He asked me and my sisters to guide the other guests to the room where the ceremony would be held since we were there early to set up. The bookstore was something of a maze, as bookstores often are. My dad's wedding was being held on the second floor, so my sisters and I were stationed at various places on the first floor leading to the stairs, which were hidden in a little corner in the back. My sisters and I were dressed up, but not wearing name tags or aprons like the people who actually worked at the bookstore. That did not stop a parade of people stopping by and asking where to find certain books. I don't know what it was about my appearance in particular, but most customers came to me instead of my sisters. I get that I was standing in a particular spot and that I could have looked like I was there to answer questions, but the staff were busy shelving books, dusting, making coffee, and generally being busy, so I would have been a pretty lousy staff member just standing around like that. One customer in particular approached me and asked if I knew where the painting that used to hang in the store was now. I answered that I did not work here and was simply guiding guests to the room where my dad's wedding was to be held. The man looked incredulous and asked me several more questions about the painting, including who the artist was, what the medium was, the size of the painting, and what the subject was. After I answered that I did not know any of those things, he was satisfied that I did not in fact work at the bookstore. He then proceeded to say how much he loved weddings, no matter who was getting married. He asked where the wedding was being held and if he could go take a peek. I answered that that would be really weird, given that it's a private ceremony and my dad would probably appreciate it if he didn't. He laughed it off and said, well, I'll come by and crash the wedding later. I just love weddings so much. I practically begged him to not crash my dad's wedding, even just to watch, because there were so few guests that it would just be painfully awkward to have some random man smiling in the back. After a few moments of us going back and forth and him promising he'd be there whether we liked it or not, he finally agreed to leave the wedding alone. He stayed for a suspiciously long time in the bookstore, watching all the guests come in. He smiled ridiculously as my now stepmother walked in with her dress and headed upstairs, provoking her to ask me and my sisters, who was that creepy smiling guy standing around watching the entourage. We responded, he's just some guy who really likes weddings and asked if he could crash yours. To our great relief, he did not show up at the ceremony. But the whole time I was worried about it. Sorry for being distracted during your wedding, Dad. The next story is titled I'm Not Security. So I just found this sub and have a few stories. I'd share one from my old job. I used to be a law enforcement officer on an Indian reservation. The tribe has a casino where an incident had taken place earlier or the day before. It's been a couple years so I can't really remember. I didn't work at the casino and was almost never there. Either way, I went to the casino to do a follow-up. I'm all done and walking to my patrol unit parked in the front when I hear, security. Now for context. It's totally reasonable to be mistaken for security, but this will factor in later. Casino security wears blue and drive little golf carts. I'm wearing a full kit, jet black tactical uniform. My unit was a Silverado with full police package, huge badge on the side, protect and serve, dial 911. All the bells and whistles. So I turn because maybe someone is in trouble. This lady about 40 with that smug appearance as they're looking very frustrated. So the conversation begins. Me equals me, CL equals crazy lady, SS equals security supervisor, will enter stage left later. CL, finally. I dropped my keys in the fountain. Call your maintenance to get them. Me. Oh. Well, I'm not security but I'll go grab an employee for you. CL, no. You're a security guard. Use your little walkie-talkie to call someone. Me. No. I'm officer of the tribal enforcement but I'll grab someone. CL. Just use your radio. Me. It doesn't go to them. It goes to a 911 dispatch center. This continues for a few circles. A security guard comes by, notices her loud tone. She looks at him. CL, you. Call your supervisor. This one, pointing at me, isn't doing his job. SS. Ma'am, I am the supervisor and he's not a security guard. He's a cop. CL, oh you too. Loud screaming rant with many expletives calling us lazy. This has drawn a crowd. I figured the best course is to let her scream until she is tired. SS. Ma'am. You can't act like this here. You need to leave. She rants about the keys in the fountain and how we won't help her. SS calls maintenance. They get the keys out in no time. She starts ranting again and calling us lazy ducks. She wants to talk to the casino manager. I cut in. Me. Hey. My turn to talk. You listen. Look at me. Look at the security guards. See the difference. I am not security. I am law enforcement. Do you understand this? Do you properly grasp who I am? CL. Yeah. I get it. She has this face like her stroke ended and she was learning numbers for the first time. Me. Good. You understand that they have asked you to leave? CL. Yeah, but I. Me. No. Stop talking. You get it. Now you have two options. You take your keys, get in your car, and go home, or I arrest you for criminal trespassing. I've tried to be polite, but enough is enough. Make your decision now. Not another word. She turns with a huff and goes to her car. I try to fathom the stupidity to this day. I laugh with the security guys for a sec, then go to my next call. The next story is entitled Lady Thinks She Can Just Come On In. This is a story about my mom's friend who busted her way into our home and stayed way too long. It's a little long, but worth the read. I call this one, The Day My Mom Came Out of the Closet. Back centuries ago when I was 12 or 13, Mom decided we needed to paint the living room. I was okay with it because I was really too young to realize how much work was involved with painting a room. Mom took a couple of days off work to get this project done. She figured 2 days would be enough. She was almost right. Before I go any further, I know you are asking yourself, what does painting a living room have to do with someone coming out of a closet? Stick around, I think you will soon understand. We took all the furniture out and had our tarps down. Mom taped off the floorboards and removed the outlet covers. We were ready to begin. We started by the door frames and was just getting to the walls when Mom heard a car pull up in the driveway. Damn, she said. It was her friend Ms. Moore, not her real name. Mom, not wanting to spend the day talking to Ms. Moore, this lady could talk the warts off a frog's butt, told me to tell her that she wasn't home. I said, okay. Ms. Moore waddled up to the front door and knocked. Mom took off down the hall and hid in the closet. You getting it now? I cracked the door open just a hair and said hello. Ms. Moore asked if Mom was home. I told her she wasn't. I said we are painting the living room and Mom went to get more supplies. Ms. Moore, being the epitome of a good, entitled friend, said, that's okay, I'll come in and wait for her. And then pushed past me and strode into the living room like she owned the place. I'm thinking this will only be for a few minutes as I stole a nervous glance down the hall to the closet. I picked up my paintbrush and continued painting. Ms. Moore then bombarded me with question after question after question. This woman could talk. I was trying to ignore her, but it was impossible. I was trying real hard not to start laughing or crying. I answered as best I could. I tried to tell her that Mom had several errands to run, but she wasn't getting the hint. She was too busy talking to hear what I was mumbling. I resigned myself to the fact that this was going to be a very long afternoon. At one point she had been talking for so long I started to hallucinate. She disappeared and in her place was a giant pair of red lips on legs. The more she talked, the bigger these red lips grew. Did I tell you that this woman could talk? She had been there quite a while and Mom must have got a bit of a cramp because we heard something from the hall. What was that? The red lips, Ms. Moore asked. We have squirrels in the attic, I said. She bought it. She wasn't very bright. I was starting to get antsy. Mom had been in the closet for quite a while now. It was getting to be lunchtime and I was hungry and I knew Mom had to be hungry as well. I said again that Mom had several errands and it could be a while before she gets back. That's okay, Ms. Lip said. I don't have anything planned for today. Great. Just great. I kept painting. She kept talking. My brain had gone numb. I no longer heard what she was saying. I just mumbled a yes ma'am every one in a while and kept nodding my head. Ms. M then asked if we had any coffee. Damn. I thought. I told her we didn't have any made. She asked if I'd be a dear and make some. Like a zombie I walked into the kitchen and put the peculator on. She has to leave soon I thought. I hoped. I prayed. After the coffee was done I went and fixed us both a cup. I figured that she would drink a cup then leave. 3 cups later she was still there. Did I mention that this woman could talk? I just about had 2 walls finished by myself now. I was thinking, was it possible for a 13-year-old to have a complete nervous breakdown from being talked to? I was beginning to think so. I saw a movement from the corner of my eye. No, this is too good to be true. She had reached into her purse and had her keys in her hand. I dared not breathe. Was she leaving? She said, I guess I should go, it's getting late. I stood in the middle of the room, not moving, not breathing, not blinking. I said, yeah, looks like Mom had more to do than she thought. Ms. Moore waddled over to the door and put her chubby little hand on the doorknob. There is a God, was all I could think. She slowly, ever so slowly turned the knob, then stopped. Damn, I need to use the bathroom before I leave, she said. So close, so very close. She had been there for over 2 hours, so she probably did have to use it. Down the hall. First door to your right, I said. The closet was the second door on the right and they were right next to each other. She went and stayed in there for several minutes. Then to my relief I heard the toilet flush and the water in the sink come on. She came out and said she had enjoyed our visit. I said something like yeah me too or yeah screw you, or something. I mumbled it so low she didn't hear me. She then opened the door, and I almost screamed from the pain of the sunlight. She waddled down to her car, got in and left. I shut and locked the door. Mom, she's gone, I yelled down the hall. The closet door busted open with a force you only see in movies. There was a whirl of color, not unlike the Tasmanian devil from the Bugs Bunny cartoons, and then the bathroom door slammed shut. I don't know how you were raised, but we were not wealthy enough to have a potty in the closet. Mom had to pee before she went in. She had been holding it for over 2 hours. When she finally emerged from the bathroom, she was a sweaty, shaking mess. I went and put on another pot of coffee and I really couldn't help myself. I busted out laughing and it took several minutes for me to pull myself back together. Mom just gave me the evil eye mom look. She knew she couldn't get mad at me because after all, I was just a kid and she's the one that told me to tell her she wasn't home. To this day, I still tease Mom about that day she came out of the closet. The next story is titled Yes, I Speak Spanish, but I'm a tourist. Just like you. So, this happened a few years ago, long before this pandemic started. For context, I'm Mexican, I was fresh out of college, and I decided I wanted to go on vacations to New York because I really wanted to see a Broadway musical. I convinced my mom to go with me because I didn't want to go alone, and my friends don't have that kind of money. She didn't want to at first because she had some very bad opinions about Americans, which thankfully changed after our trip, and she also doesn't speak English very well. Thankfully for her, our second day in New York, we were looking for a place to have breakfast and entered a restaurant? I don't know if that's the name. They served pancakes, sandwiches, and cheesecakes, and had also some fruits and sodas to buy. Anyways, the place had only Mexican employees, so my mom didn't have to rely on me to order for her, which she appreciated, so from then on, we ate all our meals there. The place didn't have any waiters though, so you had to order and then go pick your food when they called for your turn and bring it back to your table yourself. It was during our second day in New York that we ordered some sandwiches and, when our turn was called, my mom asked me to get our food. However, when I came back with it, she asked me if I could also bring her another bottle of water, as she had already finished hers. She gave me money and I went to buy her another bottle. I had arrived at the fridge and was about to open it, when someone said in Spanish, "Excuse me?" She had a weird accent that I had never heard before. So, not from Mexico. I quickly grabbed the bottle and turned to look at whoever had spoken, thinking they wanted to use the fridge. I was met with an old lady wearing a shirt and shorts, with sunglasses on and a camera hanging from her neck by a cord. Yep. A tourist like myself. "Are you going to use the fridge?" I asked also in Spanish. "No. I wanted to know why our food hasn't arrived yet. We ordered almost half an hour ago." To her credit, she wasn't rude about it. Mostly annoyed, which I understand. "Oh, no, you must go pick up the food yourself," I explained. "See the ticket they give you? It has a number, and when it matches the number in the sign above the counter, it means your food is ready. But you brought food to that woman, she said confusedly, pointing to my mom. Yeah. That's my mom. I don't work here. But you're Mexican. She seemed to still be trying to make sense of the situation. She probably inferred I was Mexican because of my skin color and because I had the same accent as the employees. Yes, but I'm a tourist. Just like you. I kept trying to explain. I live with 3 elderly people, so I know sometimes it takes them a while to understand something that goes against what they had at first believed to be the truth. Eventually, she seemed to process my words and apologized profusely before going to pick her food. She, her husband, and their grandson then went to sit next to my mom and I. This wasn't uncommon, as the tables were rather large and the place was crowded, and we had a good time talking about our experiences in New York, as well as our own countries. Turns out they were from Colombia. Eventually, it was time for us to go to the musical, so we said goodbye to them and headed towards Broadway. That was the first, and the last time, to date, at least, that I have been confused as an employee when I'm not. And I'm thankful it was a positive experience. The next story is titled You Otter No I Don't Work Here. We took the kids to the zoo today and walked by the otter exhibit twice. The first time, the otters were back in their den area and we didn't see them. The next time we walked by, the 3 otters were outside. I was so excited to see them, I shouted, "Otters," and rushed over there. The otters were also apparently excited to see me. They started vocalizing more and all 3 ran up to the edge of their area towards me, chattering away. It was really exciting and felt like they were legit happy to see just me. When we were leaving the zoo, an employee asked my kids what animal they liked seeing the most. My kids didn't really respond, so I did, and I told her about the otters. She said she really liked them too, that they were really friendly and whenever they saw a zoo worker they would rush over begging for food. Looking down, it appears I accidentally dressed like a zoo worker, with khaki pants and a navy shirt. The next story is titled Racist Karen Demands Service and Gets Hilariously Served Back by the Manager. This is not my story but I was a virtual witness. So the story. I'm from India. One of my close friends, cousin lives in Texas and he wanted to attend college there, so he thought he would go there and spend some time and get to know the place. Mind you, this was just before lockdown in 2020. So he flies there and they impose lockdown. He decided that he would stay there and return once the situation got better. This is where the brown mindset comes into play. If someone you know is going to a foreign country then they will have to get you back anything as a souvenir even if you could get the exact same thing in your local supermarket because it is forgin. So went to a very well-known store with a beaver for its mascot and was in a video call with me and we were happily shopping when this Karen came to and asked where something was. He was not wearing anything similar to the uniform. Politely told her he did not work there and she responded with, "You're black, you must work here." At this point I start recording the call and the Karen tells him, "You are helping a customer do her online shopping via video conference. Is that even a thing? So you are obviously an employee." Does not know what to say and just stands there without speaking anything. Then the savage manager arrives. Manager. What is the problem here? Karen. Your employee is not helping me and prioritizing an online customer over me. Manager. I'm sorry ma'am, he does not work here. Karen. But. Manager. You should have realized that when he didn't have a gaint beaver up his back. The look on the Karen's face, oh my god. I laughed so hard people from India, Texas and everyone in between would have heard it. We recently celebrated anniversary of this incident and I thought this story fits this sub quite well. So hope you all enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.